Welcome back to Math 103. This is the second video on voting. Recall the following preference table from last time with 100 voters based on the 1998 Minnesota gubernatorial election. The candidates, you will recall, are Coleman, Humphrey, and Ventura. In this actual historical election, Ventura was the winner, and that outcome surprised many voters, which is why we're discussing it. This was a controversial election and raised many questions about voting methods. The first question I asked you was, based on your intuition, which candidate do you think best reflects the voters' wishes overall? So that question is just asking you for your intuition. There is a case to be made for Ventura. There is also a case to be made for Coleman, perhaps for Humphrey as well. At this stage, we are still sorting out intuitions, and we have not yet gotten to the point of defining voting methods, although we're getting there very soon. Right? We do not yet have a specific rule for taking the information in the preference table, performing some computation on it, and computing the winner. Okay. The second question was, in what sense did Ventura receive most of the first choice votes? The word most is a little bit ambiguous, actually. He received more first choice votes than what? He received more first choice votes than any individual opponent. But there is another sense of the word most in which Ventura did not receive most of the first choice votes. In particular, he did not receive more than half of all the first choice votes combined. Or to put it another way, he did not receive more first choice votes than all his opponents combined. What he did receive is a plurality of first choice votes. What he did not receive, however, was a majority of first choice votes. So now we're ready for a definition and our first voting method. A plurality candidate in an election is a candidate who receives a plurality of first choice votes, that is, more first choice votes than any other individual candidate. And our first voting method, our first rule for using the preference table to determine the winner of the election, is the plurality method. This is probably the most familiar voting method to us. Under the plurality method, the plurality candidate, if there is one, is declared the winner. Under the extended plurality method, we rank candidates based on the number of first choice votes received. So in this way, we can produce an overall ranking of the candidates based on the same information used to determine the winner. So as an example, let's find the winner of the 1998 Minnesota gubernatorial election under the plurality method. And let's rank the candidates under the extended plurality method. Now, it may seem a little bit strange that a voting method is defined as a rule that takes all the information in the preference table, performs some computation, and tells us the winner, but this voting method, familiar as it may be, is only looking at the first choice votes, and it is completely ignoring all the other information. That's true, but that's how the method works. So the winner is Ventura. Okay? Ventura receives 37, so 20 votes plus another 17 votes is 37 first choice votes, and that makes him the winner because Coleman, nobody else has 37 or more, so Ventura wins, but we're not done because we were asked to rank the candidates. Right, so this is straightforward. Ventura has 37 votes, Coleman has 35 first choice votes, Humphrey has 28. So under the extended plurality method, extended is just a term we're going to use to indicate that we mean that we're now going to rank the candidates using exactly the information we already processed to figure out the winner. So we're going to get a ranking. Ventura is first, Coleman is second, and Humphrey is third. Right. Our next definition says that a candidate who receives a majority of first-place votes, that is, more than half of all first-place votes, is called a majority candidate. Notice that this is strictly more than half. Getting exactly half is not enough. You need more than half the first place votes to be a majority candidate. And there's an important difference between plurality and majority. We already noted that in this example from Minnesota. So who, if anyone, was the majority candidate in that 1998 election? No one. There is no majority candidate, and that's okay. That happens. In fact, it is quite common when there are 3 or more candidates that no candidate is a majority candidate. Before going on to the next video, contrast the following preference tables for 2 different elections. So look at them carefully and answer the question, how do they differ in terms of plurality and majority candidates?